You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our Training Thursday show, I want to share with you some specific workouts or things you can do before a big meal to actually cut down on weight gain, cut down on the bloating, and better absorb the nutrients that you're about to put in your body. And I know that over this month especially, but certainly it could happen any time of the year, as we know, there's just more social gatherings. There's a lot of people getting together, and a lot of times when we get together, we like to commune over food. We like to have a few drinks together. And a lot of people like to entertain that way, where they're cooking maybe some fancier meals or foods that are a little bit more rich. And I actually don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, as long as we don't overdo it. So we have to understand, and I did go over this. I think this is really, really important. And I talked about this just yesterday, how to survive the holidays without feeling bloated, burnt out, and overburdened. So if you didn't check that out, check in yesterday's show. It's episode 670. For all shows, just go to stephencabral.com/podcasts, or directly for the show notes, you would go to stephencabral.com/670. So that I gave you exactly what to do, meaning like specifically how to eat, what to avoid. That was a fun show. I really enjoyed doing that. Today, I want to talk about the workout aspect of it. So again, if we know already that it's unavoidable, that we're already going to be exposed to these things, what can we do to better take care of our body? Now, this means in terms of like overall wellness and anti-aging, it means not letting our blood sugar get spiked for too long, not accumulating body fat. And the same for body transformation. We just don't want to deal with the inflammation. We don't want to deal with the excess calories. We don't want to deal with our hormones being thrown out of whack because we're essentially consuming too much fats, too much sugar. Those are the two main things. Yes, there'll be some extra protein maybe, but a lot of times we're looking at fat and sugar and salt. Like those are the things that are most addictive. Protein isn't necessarily as addictive, but sugar, our body certainly wants as much as that it can get. Fat, it will hold on to that. It would appreciate that. And then salt. Our bodies are hardwired for those three specific tastes, which I'll do a show on in the future as well, and how the food industry already knows this. And it's why they add sugar to things like French fries. You know, why would you ever add sugar to French fries? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it does when you look at terms of our biochemistry and our neurochemistry, meaning like our nervous system is wired when it tastes those things to want more of it from a survival-based standpoint. I mean, that really, like those calories would help you to survive in the wild if there was a shortage of food. So when you look at something like French fries, when you go to a place like McDonald's, well, you're getting the fat, right? Because they're basically just cooked in fat. They are loaded with salt. And we're not talking about sea salt. We're talking about iodized, high aluminum-based salt, which is obviously not good for you, bleached salt. And then they're adding sugar. Why are they adding sugar? Well, they're adding that third addictive taste, sugar, salt, and that sweet. So sugar, salt, and sweet, yes, and then also the fat. So they know what they're doing. Bottom line is they know what they're doing. That's why we have to have the information behind us. So in order for us to fight back. Okay, so having said that, knowing what a typically one of these cheat meals or social gatherings has for us, as well as alcohol, and again, alcohol is going to really dampen your weight loss or kind of body transformation-based effects, and of course, wellness and inflammation, all the other things that go along with drinking alcohol that are not necessarily great for our overall health, but we do it because we enjoy going out with the friends. We enjoy having a cocktail or two. Every once in a while, no problem at all. I think your body can handle it. I don't think there's going to be a big issue unless you do have wellness-based issues and you're looking to overcome those right now. So when we work out, and I'll give you a little workout to do, but when we work out before a big meal, now I'm not talking about 30 minutes before. I'm talking about really any time that day. That's why when I work with people, wellness clients, body transformation clients, as well as my team, I'm not the only person. Remember, I have a great team. I have a phenomenal team of over a dozen people, and we kind of all have our own little philosophy and I guess overall implementation of health. But all of us go by the same structure, the same principle. So what I teach my team is this, is that we have to understand how to balance inflammation, hormones, blood sugar, all of these things in order to transform our body from a wellness, a weight loss, and anti-aging based perspective. So like, for example, our personal trainers, they create their own programs within the structure, though, of what we believe in, which are the full body workouts, and then they get our nutrition plan, and they help people essentially to achieve their goals. One of those things is this, is understanding that a lot of people are going to have their cheat meal on a Friday night or maybe a Saturday night, or maybe they're watching football on a Sunday, or, again, like that's something that I enjoy doing. And sometimes there's some cheat meals and there's some drinking going on. American football, that is. And so what we do is this, is we just say, is it possible to do a workout the day of a cheat meal? Meaning like Friday afternoon, is it possible a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning? And if you can't make it to the gym, fine. Could you purchase a kettlebell to keep at home? Could you purchase adjustable dumbbells? And again, you can just find those at stephencabral.com/store. Just click on the weight loss tab, even if you're not looking to lose weight. And we just give you links to Amazon from some of our favorite workout products. So you can just use them at home. Because I know that you're not always going to make it to the gym, but you want to be able to arm yourself with the equipment you need when you need it. And you don't want to go looking for it. So yes, you can do bodyweight exercises, and bodyweight exercises are phenomenal. But let's say you want to do like a goblet squat, which I'll give you in a minute, some really easy kettlebell exercises you can do. You can get a phenomenal workout in with a maximum of 20 minutes. And you can, trust me, you can find 20 minutes. You can find 20 minutes while you're getting ready to go out, any of those things. And why does this matter? Well, here's why. When you work out that day, amazing the research that we have seen in terms of exercise physiology and our biochemistry. We found this, and that's actually just stated on the American Diabetes Association. So it's actually diabetes.org. Again, you can always research these things for yourself, and I'm perfectly fine with you doing that. I'm happy for you to do that. I just don't want you to get overloaded with all the nitty gritty of the research. That's my job. That's what I do. You're welcome to look into it yourself. But the Cabral concept, again, there are many, many different podcasts out there. What I want to do is I want to give you real world actionable advice. There's a lot of podcasts that want to just go into the specific science and the research. That's amazing as well. Truly phenomenal. And I think that's great. That's never what I wanted this show to be about. I do the research. I comb through all of it. I then combine it with my previous knowledge of reading many thousands of books and studying overseas and going back to school for my doctoral degree, all of those things. And then I want to give you the information that really matters, because there's so much research out there, contrary to conventional medicine, so much research out there on nutrition and on exercise that it can be overwhelming. So I want to give you what you really need to know in order to achieve your goals. So here's the thing. If we work out truly, again, my previous research, this goes back 15 years, is that I read and I saw, and this was actually replicated many times, that if you work out within 8 hours of a cheat meal, that could be alcohol, it could be, again, high sugar, high fat, high processed food, whatever it might be, is that your body's going to be better able to use those cheat foods, namely the glucose, the sugar that you're getting from it. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that your body, your cells are going to be more open to insulin receptors. And that means it's going to be better able to shuttle sugar back into the cells rather than floating around in the bloodstream. Because if sugar is just floating around in your bloodstream, well, it's going to bind with proteins and other things called they create advanced glycation end products called AGEs. That leads to aging, that leads to deterioration of the skin, those age spots that you see, many other different properties as well. Free radical damage is a big one too. Even if you listen to Tuesday's show on that missing neurotransmitter, well, it can also affect neurotransmitter levels as well. So that's just one thing. Now, working out, though, helps you to think of it like this. By working out, you're already using glucose, which is floating around the bloodstream. That's important in and of itself, because that's going to help people who are looking to transform their body, lose more weight, tap into more body fat. So that, of course, makes sense. But the second is, then whatever sugar you used, especially if it came from liver glycogen, well, your body's going to look to replace that before it would then use excess glucose, sugar from your food, to create more body fat. Because excess sugar floating around your bloodstream, your body will eventually start to produce more insulin. As it produces more and more insulin, sometimes too much, it will actually start to create a greater amount of adipose tissue, which is body fat. Because insulin really is a fat-storing hormone. We can look at it, it has many, many different functions, but really, it's a great way to shuttle things into the cells. Yes, muscle cells, but also it will create adipose tissue if the insulin has enough sugar in the bloodstream where it needs to get that out of the bloodstream, because as we know, sugar in the bloodstream creates a whole host of damage within the body. And we know it as essentially type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes. And now even they're calling it type 3 diabetes. Really, really important to look at all of those essentially. But having high blood sugar is never a good thing. So back to why we should be working out. Well, we knew 15 years ago that working out within 8 hours of a cheat meal helped us to better utilize glucose. And this study was done on type 2 diabetics. But now, even right on the page of diabetes.org, they're showing that a workout from physical activity, moderate levels, can help lower blood glucose up to 24 hours or more after a workout. Why does it do that? Well, it simply makes your body more sensitive to insulin. And whenever that happens, your body's then better able to shuttle that glucose out of your bloodstream, which is the big thing. Remember, sugar inside the cells, fine. Sugar in the bloodstream, not okay. Causes damage to the body. Everything from the eyes to free radical damage to the arteries, increases cholesterol, damages the liver. It will increase body fat as well, inflammation. So really, really important to look at that. So that's why, of course, we're recommending that. And now that we have more confirmation that that workout before is going to be so important, we can look at it in a few ways. And I just want to end with this here. I start to wrap it up before I give you a workout. So we have an exercise uptaking glucose. Okay, very, very important. Now we know it does that. Okay, so that means when you have that cheat meal, well, the first amount of sugar that you have is going to go back to replace your glycogen stores. Great, that won't turn to body fat. The rest of it hopefully will be taken up maybe to repair some damage done to the muscles during the workout. Okay, well, that's going to be used then for muscle glycogen. It will be used in the overall repair-based process. Okay, great. But the other thing is, by working out the day of a cheat meal or drinking, anything like that, we'll call that one and the same, is that your body's going to boost its metabolism. Now, it's going to boost its metabolism beyond a blood sugar standpoint. That means that your body is always looking to bring itself back to homeostasis. And we know by now, this was a big thing about a decade ago. We looked at this thing called EPOC, and essentially, bringing your body's baseline back to a normal metabolic response. Well, we know that EPOC isn't the big rider anymore in terms of why exercise can boost metabolism afterwards. But we do know of certain properties in the body where when it was ramped up in terms of the overall nervous system, and we got certain types of micro tears in the muscle cells themselves, that the body is always looking to return to homeostasis. Plus, there's that thermogenic effect of the workout where your body is going to use more calories in the first place, not just during the workout, but actually to bring that body back down to its normal. And again, we see that in terms of burning body fat up to 36 hours with things like Tabata-based workouts. And a Tabata-based workout, you can simply go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in Tabata, because I've certainly talked about that many times. But all it is 8 rounds of 20 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest. You can basically pick the exercises, but they should be exercises where you can go all out. So having said that, let's give you a little Tabata to do. But actually, before we do that, one more point. One more reason why I love the idea of working out the same day as a cheat meal or going out to a social event is if you work out the same day as a cheat meal, you are most likely less likely, not always, but you're most likely less likely to maybe cheat as much. And the reason is this. You worked out, you put in the effort, you did something that a lot of people were not willing to probably do, and you're not going to want to ruin it now by just completely throwing all your ethics and morals out the window and having like 3 slices of cheesecake and washing it down with maybe a half a bottle of wine. That's probably not something you're going to do if you worked out that day, because in the back of your mind, you're saying, you know what? Do I really want to ruin all that work I did by just, having all of these calories, and especially calories that are empty coming from sugar and all of these hydrogenated fats and whatever you may have? Now, I think that's hopefully more of the mindset, which is why this is a big psychological based component as well. And again, am I saying you should never enjoy your favorite foods, never enjoy a drink out with friends? I'm not saying that. I'm not. I'm saying there's a time and place for that. If it's happening 4 or 5 nights a week, I think we might need to dial that back. But again, that's probably a different podcast for a different day. So let's give you a little workout. I mentioned earlier that this thing about having a kettlebell at home. Why does that matter? Why does it matter having a 25, 30, 35 pounder kettlebell at home? Well, here's why. Swings are one of the easiest exercises for you to do. Now, you should do them properly. You can watch exercise videos on proper swing form. And I know there's a million videos out there on YouTube. but we've done them before. I did them. I used to produce videos for Diet.com about a decade ago. They're hilarious. They're me, literally 10 years ago. Yes, 10 years ago, actually, and demonstrating a lot of these videos. So you can find those, of course, but you don't have to just look at mine. There are other videos out there. Other people know, believe it or not, other people know how to do a kettlebell swing, and they're very adept at that exercise. So you can watch a really good kettlebell swing. You'll see someone doing it correctly when their eyes are always looking forward. They're not tilting their head down. They're not rounding their back. And they're moving with their hips stretching backwards. So they're stretching their hamstrings and glutes, kind of like a pendulum. They're not squatting. They're stretching backwards, almost like a Romanian deadlift. And then they're thrusting their hips forward by squeezing their glutes. So they stretch their glutes and hamstrings. Then they squeeze their glutes and they're contracting forcefully, opening up those psoas muscles, and they're engaging their core. They're not lifting the kettlebell with their arms. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. And you can actually do an amazing Tabata workout, and that would take you all of 4 minutes. Now, should you get warmed up first? Sure. Jumping jacks, a plank, a transverse plane lunge, a backwards lunge, a side lunge, anything you want would be great. Then you get into your workout, and really, a Tabata is 20 seconds of swings, followed by 10 seconds of rest. For my clients that don't have the ability to even look at a clock or a stopwatch or anything like that, for most people, it's going to be somewhere about 13 to 14 swings, followed by 2 full breaths. Those 2 full breaths, you pick back up the kettlebell again, you do it again. And you can do it for up to 8 rounds. Now, if you've never done this before, it does not make sense to do all 8 rounds. It probably makes sense maybe to do more like 3 or 4 rounds. See how you do, and then you're welcome to add 1 or 2 more rounds the next time you do this. Now, this is a great Tabata interval. It's called a kettlebell swing Tabata interval to do after a full weight training workout if you ever choose to as well. This is a great thing to do just to boost that metabolism, to stoke that metabolism, to really help you uptake more glucose. So what am I saying? Well, you could do this nice little Tabata. That will take you 4 minutes. Your warm-up will take you 4 or 5 minutes. So that's 10 minutes of your workout. Now, after your warm-up, before you do the kettlebell workout, the kettlebell Tabata that I just spoke of, you could do a very simple body weight workout. Now, you could do push-ups, you could do squats, you could do walking lunges, you could do step-ups if you want, and you could do some type of assisted pull-up or pull-up if you're good at it, or inverted row. Any of those things would be great to also work your entire body. So when we're doing push-ups, we're working chest and shoulders. When we're doing rows, we're working kind of back and shoulders as well, just a different part of the body, more of the posterior chain. When we're doing squats, well, it's more of a knee-dominant exercise, so we're working more of the quads, but yes, we're getting the glutes, the hamstrings, we're getting everything in there. We're doing a lunge. It's a little bit of a hybrid, but certainly if you do backwards lunge or a walking lunge, you're going to get a lot of glutes in there, a lot of hamstrings as well, so that's phenomenal. So you could just do those 2 if you wanted to. That would work great. Those 4 exercises actually for body weight would be phenomenal. That might take you another 5 minutes. So really what you're looking at is you could do a warm-up, those body weight exercises, then your Tabata kettlebell. You could get in a 15-minute workout right there. That would be absolutely fantastic. Now, could you make it more formal? Yes. Could you go to the gym? Yes. Could you do a spin class? Yes. Could you do any of those things? Absolutely. But what I'm trying to do is just make sure that we don't have any excuses. That even if you only had 10 minutes before getting ready to go out, that you could do a 5-minute warm-up of jumping jacks, of a backwards lunge with a 2-arm raise to open up your anterior chain, of doing a plank, any of those things, right? So after you're done with your plank, now we get up, we breathe, we grab a little bit of water, and now it's time for that up to 8 rounds, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, kettlebell swing Tabata. Truly, that's all you need in 10 minutes. Now, could you do more? Always, of course. But what I'm trying to say is anyone could do that 10-minute workout. I really believe that. And if you did that, you would now be able to better uptake glucose, you'd boost your metabolism, and you'd be in a better mindset for that coming social night, for that cheat meal, whatever it might be. And I'm telling you right now, this will help you to survive the holidays. It really will. If you tune into yesterday's show, you'll learn how to better eat for the holidays. And obviously you tuned into today's show, so now you're getting the exercise part of it. Really, these 2 things combined, I want you to do this. I want you to survive the holidays, and I don't want you to gain the typical 6 pounds that most people do. Now, it's 6 pounds in inflammation, body fat, all of those things. But why don't I want this? Well, because I want you on January 1st, I want you to wake up understanding that it's going to be your best year ever. And I'll tell you right now, you're a little bit behind if you have to lose the 6 pounds that you put on from Thanksgiving in the US, which is the end of November, until January 1st. That's what most people do. They put on an extra 6 pounds. Now, before you lose the new weight, or transform your body or wellness or anti-aging, you need to lose 6 pounds of inflammation, 6 pounds of body fat, whatever it might be. I want you to start fresh. I want January 1st to literally be your flag in the dirt saying, I start today. This is going to be my best year yet. And I'm starting fresh. I'm starting clean right where I left off. So hopefully today's show was helpful. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you as always for sharing this show with anyone you believe it could help.
Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.